All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome y'all to another episode of the Daily Dollar Short Podcast. As always, your hosts are here. It's your boy Martin.
And Marlon.
Your girl BK.
And today we have a special guest. I've known this guy since high school. Man, it's been a while. He's in law enforcement. Our brother Martin High School Crusaders, class of 07. He left after hurricane, but it's all good. I think he's still a Crusader in my life. So without further ado, Jerome, welcome to the podcast, brother.
What's up, man? What's up?
Man, happy to have you on. We doing good, man. How about yourself?
I'm good. Just picked up my son. We're about to have a good little night, watch some How to Get Away with Murder.
Gotta watch that. Yes, yeah, absolutely. How old is he?
He's 3.
He's 3?
Okay.
Yeah.
So Marlon said that you're in law enforcement. How's things going being in law enforcement, in the world we live in?
It has up and down just like everybody else's job, I would say.
Right. Well, I mean, specifically like in the quarantine and everything we're dealing with right now, it's a crazy time. I will say that.
Yeah, it's just it's definitely a crazy time. They got different type of issues going on than normal, of course. Having to be safe because we come in contact with a lot of people, a lot of different people that we don't know from a lot of different types of backgrounds, from people on the street to people who got the bet $10 million in their 401k. Just different spectrums of life. I've seen officers contract stuff when virus is not out going around and stuff like that. So definitely, you just got to be extra safe about it.
Yeah, man. So what made you want to get into law enforcement?
For the most part, I've always been the type of person that want to help people. That's been my main goal as law enforcement. In my law enforcement career, basically, I always looked up to one of my uncles. He was a businessman. And I admired that in him too, because he owned a couple of things in the city. He was a police officer, did that for 30 plus years, and I used to be around him a lot. Just seen the man he was, and I looked up to him.
Okay, that's what's up. So, with you being an African American, what's it like being a cop, while black? What do you go through on a day-to-day basis? Are you kind of trying to stand up for black community as a cop, or what's your mindset?
First, that was kind of two-parter.
Yeah, but
first, being a black cop, I would say it has its struggles. I would say, because once I take off the uniform, I'm just another black man. Then when I put it on, they look at me in a very different light, And
right.
It's just like, I've said something like a lot of people I've talked to, they see me post something on Facebook about one time I went in AMC theaters over there, AMC theater or whatever. I had a shirt on. And I'm not gonna say what the shirt said. It was nothing derogatory or anything like that. I was with my ex. We was in line, getting I think concessions, and the police officer there came up to me and was like, "Oh, I'm probably have to ask you to leave the facility," And I'm like, I was like, what? And the thing is, I'm like, dude, you know me, I work with you at he's a different jurisdiction, different parish, but basically, and we worked together at a mutual detail or whatever, and he was telling me to leave, and my ex, she was like, he was like, they have the theater has a policy that you can't wear what's the correct phrase he said? He said
derogatory, maybe?
Not derogatory, but offensive or something like that. All right, I had a shirt that said America's never great on.
Oh. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's what
Look, I'll say this. You were kind of asking for it, but at the same time, I don't disagree.
I see now. I got it.
And he was like, the thing about it, my ex was like, because they had people walking up, oh, that's a great man. You know, where you get that? I'm talking about white people and stuff like that. And the dude was like, "Oh, you have to leave or whatever." And so we like, all right, we'll get the manager. I want my money back, or whatever. He left or whatever. We went in our movie or whatever. The manager came talk to me, and we was like, she didn't even know the policy.
All over a shirt, though. That's all I'm saying.
So we like, how she don't know the policy, but the police officer detail know the policy.
Exactly.
But it just was like that, like, wow, like, you know, if I'm pretty sure if I was, they wouldn't tell me nothing like that, like, oh, you gotta leave and stuff like that, just because if I was in uniform. I mean, that's just some this is a part. I mean, I've been discriminated. I'm with the brother Martin.
Yeah.
So you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Martin.
Give me that.
So, all right. So speaking of policies and stuff, we've had really the biggest thing going on across social media, across the news, everything has been Ahmaud Aubrey's killing. Which it's a crazy situation. There was it's a couple months old at this point. And so it's one of those situations where it took someone leaking a video to actually get movement on the case.
Exactly.
And now, first off, have you seen the video where he was looking at the home under construction?
Yes.
Okay. So I wanted to ask you, as a police officer, do you see a crime being committed in that situation?
Far as crime being committed, as far as with the video evidence, once the video when you see the video, the highest crime I've seen committed was a trespass, and that's even a stretch. That is a trespass.
Right. So, and I want
because I mean, I can't. I don't practice. I don't know the exact laws in Georgia, but trespassing have to be at least like restricted in some way from.
Right, and I was going to ask, there had to be like, you would have had to have a no trespassing sign posted, have a fence up, or you jumped the fence or something like that to say, you know, this you can't travel on this property.
Even with, basically you have to, because even when you deal with trespassing as a police officer on the street, it's normally trespass somebody inside a store or something like that. Right. That's the most common trespasses we get, and mostly you just tell them they don't want you back here. Or the only time you really arrest them is they already been notified that, all right, we already told them, all right, you just.
Yeah, now, you know, it's escalated to a certain point where you have to really address the situation. Not something that's going to be just like the first time. And I know just for me, I have friends who are realtors and brokers, and they deal with real estate. And they've all said, when I've asked them these questions, you know, how many times have you done something like that? Like if you've ever, I know me just working in construction, like I've just walked around like houses just being built and looking at them. And they said the same thing. It's like you trying to see what it looks like what it's going to be. Because, I mean, if you've never been inside a house being constructed, it is interesting because it's different. It's a different world. So for someone his age, you know, he was 26, you know, young guy, you know, not a lot of people buying a house at 26 years old right now. You know, so to have an opportunity to walk around and see it, that's how I took it. He just may have been inquisitive, curious about it. He walked in, went about his run, jog, however. So, and so then also, I don't know if you're familiar with what happened in St. Paul, Minnesota.
With who?
Anthony Trifoletti.
I think I heard that name.
Okay, so Anthony Trifoletti.
I think I read about. I think I did. What's the details of that?
So basically,
that's all you wanted to talk about with Aubrey?
Well, no, we got more. That's just me personally. We gonna get into some more. But
that's the hot topic right now. You know they wanted to.
Oh yeah, no,
that's the big one.
Oh yeah.
There's other. I mean, why I did say that, there's other things that I would tell you that I could come out and tell you. I think they're gonna get off.
Really?
I mean, it's not gonna be indicted.
I want to hear this.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying. That's all y'all want to talk about.
Spill the tea.
No, by all means. No, I mean, I definitely want your perspective on it.
Even when I'm telling people, I tell them, look, anybody asking, you know, I got friends that call me and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And first thing I tell them, please don't. If I'm gonna tell you stuff, don't feel with emotions, because the law don't really care about emotions.
That's true.
That's what I tell a lot of people, even the court judge. I don't know if they've been in front of a judge that like judges don't really care much about emotion. The court of law, they go by law, not by emotion.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The main thing I tell them about this is that yes, why I did say that the maximum they will be is trespassing.
Mm-hmm.
They have to. I'm not 100% sure that a citizen arrest in Georgia follows this, but there's thing I don't know if a lot of people understand it, but it's called reasonable suspicion.
Right.
That's how basically probable cause is formed, things like that. Anybody don't know what reasonable suspicion is? It's basically knowing. I mean, not really. You don't really have to have the knowledge.
It's the presumption that they committed a crime.
Basically, a reasonable person has to presume that a crime has been committed, is being committed, or an act of being committed.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, and as a police officer, that's a lot that you have to go by reasonable suspension. Because most times that leads to probable cause. Reasonable suspicion by law gives you the right to detain a person.
So, I see.
And investigate by law. So like basically, let's say, because there's court cases where they had a court case, I can't remember the name. 5 years. I ain't in the academy right now, but I know the law. I know the law behind it. But there's a court case where they had a man. He was diabetic, right? And I don't know where it was at. I forgot where it was at, but he was diabetic, and they had reports of armed robberies in the area of grocery stores and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and they had the police officers was like, I guess, I don't know if they was in the parking lot, across the street, something like that, or down the street, whatever. The man ran into the store. They had somebody driving. The man that was diabetic was in the passenger seat. He got out, ran in. Oh, was he? I can't remember. I know he got whatever. I know he got out, ran into the stove, ran in the stove. I guess they said he seen a long line, ran back out. It was like about a minute. I don't know, 30. I don't know how long the time frame, but it was quick.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So by that, a reasonable suspicion, you can articulate reasonable suspicion that okay, I can go detain him.
Wow.
Right.
Ain't that
And
shit?
what the law, like, in the thing about it, what really happened, why it became I mean, that's not really much, but what really brought it to, I don't know if it went to Supreme Court, but we really had a court about it because the man, I don't know if he died, because when they detained him, he started having a diabetic seizure, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think that's what diabetics have. I'm not 100% sure. But they have something that they seize. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, it's diabetic seizures. Yeah.
All right, so you had
the sugar gets so high and it causes convulsions.
While they was detaining him or whatever, and I don't know if he died or he had a lot. They beat, like, they don't know if he was fighting. Like, I forgot exactly what happened, but just like that, that's one of the things that built the reasonable suspicion law into, because most laws, when they go up to Supreme Court, that's how our law has been made. Every time it goes to Supreme Court, even with lawyers and law, I mean, you see law shows in this, they cite this court case and stuff like that. That's how, and that built the reasonable suspicion law.
Okay,
that's it.
So with that me saying, as far as the McNulty, no, I'm thinking about it. The Wire.
You talking about The Wire?
What's the dude name? What's the name?
The McMichaels.
McMichaels. You can, as far as their defense, I'm not defending them, but I'm saying their defense team is going to say that by the reasonable suspicion, he has the power to detain him.
Okay, so let me ask you this thing, because for the state of Georgia, for their citizens arrest law, it says in Georgia, the law states that a private person may arrest someone if a crime is committed in his presence or within his immediate knowledge.
Right. So, because I've seen people debate that too. But I think that this case is going to go down to the prosecutor, which messed up in the Trayvon Martin case. That was the only thing that messed up in that case, was the prosecution. And this case is gonna go down to the prosecutors, my bad, because it's gonna be a lot of fight with that. It's gonna be blows taken in court.
Of course.
With that saying, when you're saying they have to have the knowledge and stuff like that, I don't know for sure, but as far as that, I don't. That's the thing. Does reasonable suspicion is that part of a citizen arrest? Is a citizen's arrest able to be basically a citizen arrest is detaining the person, basically.
Right.
Detaining the person is still an investigation, just basically what we do. So I don't know if reasonable suspicion is based in a citizen's arrest. Like, right. Are you able to conduct a citizen arrest under reasonable suspicion?
Well, they say only if it's a felony.
I know. In reasonable suspicion, like I was saying, with reasonable suspicion, they have reasonable suspicion to believe a felony was committed.
Because if he'd trespassed on the property,
just because he was inside the property that it was about to be, you can real talk.
Right.
But did you see him inside the property?
If you put yourself at their perspective, what you say? I'm sorry.
Did they see him inside the property, or was
I was gonna say the same thing.
Yes, there's a video out. There's a video that's across the street. You see Ahmaud walk up to the house. He look both ways and he run up the driveway. He go in. About I think 2 to 3 minutes later, you see a white male walk across the street, and I don't know if he shouts something because you can't really hear audio or anything like that. And Ahmaud jet out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
that same day.
My neck. What you said, Marlene?
That same day.
It was the same time that was linked up with him being inside the house.
Oh,
right. Yeah, right.
Okay.
It was because you had the video from the camera inside the house, and you had the camera facing the house from another house. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why they had. So basically,
and that's what I'm saying. Far as their defense, that their defense team is going to argue. They're going to argue that they have real suspicion that a felony was taking place.
I got you.
Right, because if he'd have stole copper, if he'd have stole anything like that or something like that, you can sell that. You can make some money on that. That elevates it to a felony at that point.
Right, and that's why. And the reason why I say they might get off is because even though they're gonna argue the prosecutor's gonna argue that he didn't take anything or blase or whatever like that. The defense is going to say from the perspective of the defense that they have reason to believe a felony was taking place, and they did not have prior knowledge of the video of him not taking anything.
Mm-hmm.
Lord,
see what I'm saying? But it's going to be a good court case. It just got to be up. It's going to be up to the prosecutor. It's gonna be a nice little court case.
But there's clear evidence though of the guy cutting him off.
Zimmerman got off, and he didn't even have the authority to really conduct a citizen's arrest.
Mm-hmm.
Far as under the statute of a citizen arrest, he wasn't even. That wasn't even an argument in their court. It wasn't even a citizen arrest. They told him not to do it.
Yeah, so they told him not to do it.
In this case, we have actual video footage of them shooting them. So
yes, and that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. It's gonna build up, and it's gonna get to the shooting part. That Georgia's open carry state. The citizen arrest law does not state anywhere that you don't have to be armed.
Right.
You're not restricted from being armed while you're conducting a citizen arrest. So that's not gonna have any weight because they're gonna be the prosecutor will be y'all chasing them down with guns, blase. Well, their possession of their guns is not illegal.
Mm.
And in the video, and I will tell you that's going to be the big part. That the part of the video is because the defense is going to argue that, basically, they did confront him, stop him, and you can see that they got into a confrontation. And all he got to do is argue now, just like with every other case that the officers are the individuals that shot unarmed black men have gotten off because they feel for their life. And that's how I feel. That's why I'm saying I think they're gonna get off. That's gonna be That's gonna be
Well,
the
I have a question for you, like not as a police officer, but as just like a black man. Like, how do you feel about citizens' arrest? Because I just think it's an easy way
honestly, I believe citizen arrest is a good law because as a police officer, during my experience, most of the time a lot of the times we've caught real life stuff is because we have citizens help.
But citizens
a lot
arrest.
of the stuff that we do catch on from citizens complaints.
But do you think
people
you
calling in, people like, helping just a little bit, stuff like that. Like that's that definitely is a big help to law enforcement.
But do you think you can still get that help from the community if y'all have a relationship between law enforcement and the community? Because I'm not a fan for citizens arrest. I just feel like it's an easier way for white people to go out and do what they want to do and not have repercussions for it.
Mm-hmm. But as I'm saying, I get what you're saying, but I that it's in the law and
so you just like it because it's in the law. So my next question.
I didn't say I like it. I said that it's I said I like it. I like it because it does help a lot of crime to be stopped.
Well, I do want to say it. So it sounds more like you like the assistance and from the community, which because you hear advertise, see something, say something. Mm-hmm. It's not see something, stop something.
And I'm telling you, like I said, I've been in real life situations where
citizens are detaining the perpetrator of the crime.
Mm-hmm. They get people that we really need off the street.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, do you think you can achieve that with law enforcement and a community having some type of relationship?
we do have that type of things where we do talk. We have stuff every week that the community come to the stations, talk, like stuff like that. Yeah, we do have that, but even still, there's occurrences where their action, like physical action, helps. Real, like I've seen officers' lives get shaved behind it.
Yeah. So it's one of the, like most things, especially in our country where we live with, it's one of those, double-sided swords.
Yeah, basically. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying, oh yeah, it's the best thing. A lot of laws ain't the best, but it's better than there's more good with it than bad. Like I'm not saying that the civil law, like I think it should be. I think that in the future there's going to be laws that come into play that basically, how should I put it? Edits or changes.
Amends the law.
Amends. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But amends the law and it's going to make it better. But at this point, it's what it is right now. But it's going to get better, I believe. But as stuff like this keep happening, they're going to have to. I mean, they don't really have to do anything because they're not like we're made to be in our best interest as Black people. But I mean, it's gonna be a lot of stuff that happen, I guess, that will change it. But I do think it needs to be changed, but I don't think it should just be stopped at all. Like it's a good thing, but there's things that need to be changed in it for sure. Because but with this, there's a lot of other things that probably need to be changed that besides citizen arrest. Like stand your ground needs to be the first thing.
That's gotta go. That's gotta go.
Yeah, that's tough.
Stand your ground needs to be the first thing. The first stop. That's the main issue. Like the citizen arrest ain't the issue. The stand your ground is in this.
Right.
So when you look at like stand your ground and castle doctrines and things like that, it's almost like they get used in a way where you put the blame on the person who was killed.
I don't think that because even with it matters what cases you're looking at. I was just saying.
Yeah, and I'm just saying that when you talk about cases that are popular, when you talk about cases that hit that social stratosphere where it's on social media and it's a national news, things like that. And you see Stand Your Ground and Castle Doctrine, and you see other laws that are in place like that.
But what you don't like about the Castle Doctrine, though?
It's not necessarily the doctrine itself. It's more when they're applied in a way that causes harm. So for instance, with the Amanda Geiger thing, they tried to use the Castle Doctrine to get her off because she thought it was her own home.
Oh, yeah. But that was bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. And that was just my issue with it.
That's the only way you like. I'm sorry. Y'all curse?
Yeah, we curse.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You good.
No filter.
It's definitely BS.
Mm-hmm.
That was
okay, well, let's kind of just shift gears.
I think they honestly with that, I think they covered up some stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
They definitely covered. That was a bit. Man, I'm gonna.
Moving on.
Let me clear. I'm about to bring up Cardiac Heat.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a lot of cover up. But
and
let's
one thing a lot of people say about me, I voice my opinion.
Yeah.
Let's switch gears real quick, guys, to police brutality because we have a little bit of time left. With a lot of stuff that's been going on with the quarantine, you talked about it's being a crazy time and seeing things. Recently, they've been having videos coming out of New York where police officers have been displaying different type of policing to certain type of people. You have people in the Black communities that are being beaten and assaulted, and then you have white people in their areas masks are being passed out. So as a police officer and law enforcement, like, what do you think about that type of policing?
It wouldn't be happening around me.
So you're more of the police officer that are like stand up for.
Oh, I mean anybody that
like right.
I guarantee you, anybody I know that have been on the streets with me, that they know I'm gonna have their back. You know, I get down when I have to, because there's time when you gotta get down. But ain't gonna be no fucking over somebody. Ain't gonna be no stuff like that going on.
Mm-hmm. Good. We need more like that.
I've seen a lot of footage of police officers taking citizens' phones that were recording them. I don't know if that's like, I didn't think it was like a legal thing that you can just take my phone because I'm recording you, but
as far as there's a law actually, which they will.
Is that a law?
There's a law that they can't do that unless you're just impeding if you're all up on the scene, I can arrest you for that. You got to stand.
They weren't like all in your face.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Like
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I said they're gonna get in trouble for that if the people that they did that to, take action. Yeah, they're gonna see some days for that. So that's against the law.
Ooh, child.
Unless you're like, if you all up in my grill taking a video, I can arrest you for that.
So
but
basically, if they're impeding the arrest.
Yes, that's a law that you cannot impede a law enforcement investigation.
Obstruct. Yeah.
Obstruct.
These guys were on their stoop, and the arrest was
I know. Like I said, they're gonna get in trouble. They're gonna get in trouble.
Walked on the man's porch and took his phone out of his hand. And I'm like, oh my god, like.
I'll show you they will get in trouble.
Right.
They won't make the news though. Like I don't know. I don't know why. One notion I see, like a lot of people think that we don't get in trouble.
I think that's one thing.
We got a whole department for that.
I just feel like it should be, I don't know. I'm more of a person, I do get emotional behind this topic because it's something that I hold very close and dear. But I feel like if you've done something and it's been publicized, then I would want your repercussions to be publicized. Like, I want to know, look, this officer.
Is your repercussions at work publicized?
Huh?
When when you have something at work, does your department call the person?
Like I work in a small community. I'm a teacher, so if I've done something wrong, we sit and we discuss it. Like,
I mean, yeah, you're working with kids, but I'm saying
what you've done wrong.
But I'm saying in most jobs, like I think people try to understand this is our job, this is our life. We are people.
Right,
too,
but if a person is not doing like he's not harming you, and it paints a bad image in the meat, like it paints a bad picture. It makes people in the community. I
understand that. How does that? How does my discipline from that's if an officer shoots somebody, something like that, beat somebody up, stuff like that, but I take your phone. Why should that discipline be portrayed to the media?
It's showing that you're not above the law. Because a lot of police officers feel like they're above the law and they don't have repercussions. So to show a citizen like, look, I bleed just like you bleed. I'm human just like you. At the end of the day, we're all human. Nobody.
That's not. It's not really the thing about it. It's not really against. It's against policy. It's not really a law. It's a policy. That you're gonna get in trouble within the department, but it's not really. I don't think there's. Yeah, it's not a law. Because it's not like it's not a law against it. But it's a law. I can't think. But I know it's not going to still if you do something at work that's wrong, why does your punishment at work?
We talk about it. I don't see nothing being wrong with it. This is something that you've done wrong. We're addressing it. We're not blaming you and saying, "Oh, we're taking your job because you took somebody's phone." But it's saying
that. But look what you're doing. Do that. Something small, because that's really something small like that. You're putting them out to the media. They have a family. They have
and the people that they arrested.
No, listen. Can I finish? Can I finish what I'm saying?
So it's just that go ahead.
Can I finish what I'm saying? You understand? They have a family. You understand? And let's say your kid goes to school with my kid and you have a prejudice. You're one of the people, because there are people that's out there that will do stuff to get back at police officers. For something that small, why should that be portrayed in my family should be, they all they gotta do is go on Facebook and see who's my wife. If I got a wife, they gotta see my kid on there. Why should something that small be portrayed to the media? I'm a person too. Let's say you did something at work that's against policy. I can see if I shot somebody, that's capital murder. You're going to jail for that. No, this is something I'm going to get rid of, probably suspended for a week for. Why should my suspension at work, something that's small like that, be portrayed to the media?
But it's small to you though. But if I'm a person minding my business, and my friend is being wrongfully arrested, then I record it, and I'm on my porch. I didn't put my hands on you. I didn't touch nothing of yours. And you come in my personal space. You just on your
property.
That's why they would be suspended for that. It can end up getting fired, but it can be suspended for that.
Police officers feel like in certain situations, they feel like they're above the law. They should have some type of discipline. Don't just not say, look.
They do get discipline. That's what I'm telling you.
So how long are we looking at that? How long are we looking?
That's the common misconception. Like I said before, you even started that we get suspended. We get investigations. We got a whole department for this. Yes. But why?
So how long? How long do they get?
If I beat them down like Rodney King, beat somebody up, excessive force, stuff like that. But something that it's not that small. We break you know how big our policy is?
Probably thick.
Like something that small, why should my family have repercussions for that?
Well, we're not
you do something, I'm pretty sure if you do something at work, that the person parent or whoever you did that, since you're a teacher, person parent, they feel very strong about it. If you did, I'm not saying you do stuff at work, but I don't know what y'all two do, but
I drive trucks, so I don't do nothing with people. I just drive.
Right. If you do something to somebody at work, which it happens all the time, which that's why there are HR departments in every company. That's the same thing. When you do something at work, you get suspended for it, you get your discipline, but why should my family have a repercussion for something like that? I'm not saying if you did something egregious, excessive force, beating somebody up, but something that's, okay, he took his phone. All right, he gonna get written up for that. If he took his phone, because somebody shot somebody, something like that, yeah, that's something different.
That's one thing, yeah.
Yeah, if you took your phone because a lot of the times I see people taking video and the officers are justified in what they're doing. But if they do that, I mean, no, they shouldn't take their phone. That did that wrong. They're gonna be disciplined for that. But why should, yeah, he did that something wrong, but it ain't something that he did something so egregious, like, oh, he ain't covering up a murder, something like that, or a beatdown, but that's not justified or something like that. And his family should have a repercussion for that. I don't stand for that at all.
All right. Well, look, we're gonna take a quick